What's up YouTube? So we're back at it again, another Jilly vlog. Today we're going to be taking the 110 engine out of my Mrs. CRF50 pit bike frame and putting in my old Stomp 125 engine. Now I know I didn't give you a video of the 140 engine going into my pit bike, but I can give you a video of the engine going into hers. It's exactly the same process, irrelevant of the displacement or CC of the engine. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it guys. Peace. Alright guys, so as you can see we've got the pit bike laid out here. You want to start by obviously turning your fuel off because you're going to be taking the fuel system off. And then undo your fuel hose, unplug your wiring if you can. If it's hardwired in, you might have to cut the connections, but there's 3 wires to a pit bike wiring loom. You can't really mess it up, and I'll still be going through that later on in the video anyway guys. But you want your clutch off, your throttle cable, etc. Chain and flywheel cover. And then that should free all of this up. Then you have to lean it up against the side or whatever may have you. If you've got a stand, you're lucky. But you will have to undo the 4 bolts holding in the foot pegs, which will then drop them out of the engine, which means that then obviously you have nothing to hold the engine or bike itself up in place. So you have to sort of think about that before you do it. Otherwise, you end up in a sweaty position, straining and struggling when it could have been avoided. But without further ado, I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse, get them bits off, and yeah, see you in a little while, guys. Peace. Right guys, even as you can see on time lapse there's not a lot to it. My chain didn't have a split link as I thought it did, so I had to undo it off there, but as the chain was slack, undo the 210 bolts, turn the plate, sprocket comes clean off easy as anything. As I said, I had to cut through the loom, but like I said, there's 3 wires, they are the colours, I don't know if it will focus. A green, a red and black, and a blue and white. You match them colours to the 3 wires coming off the frame or the bike, and that'll run. There's only 3 wires required to run these engines. They're ridiculously simple for that reason. Yeah, the other thing I didn't mention was obviously exhaust, but we've done one of them 2 studs that are sticking out there, 2 10mm nuts, undo them. Sometimes they might be double nutted or whatever, or a bolt going in if a stud's been snapped off and removed in one piece if you're that lucky. But yeah, that is now just leaving. Obviously, I'm going to take the engine off with the foot pegs on because in my head it's going to be easier. But I'll be undoing this bolt here and this bolt here, and that will be the engine out completely. But right, I shall see you guys at that point in a minute. Alright guys, so I've got all the engine mounts loose. Now this one gave me a bit of trouble because it had been fouling on the swing arm or something and worn and bent a bit maybe where it was loose and the torque of the engine. But that's all them loose now, and we'll be sliding out this bolt and playing catch. There, you realise you forgot something. Generally. Right, first try. And that is her out. So I'm putting bolts back where you've got them from. Saves confusion. Oh, sorry guys. Right. Next job. See if that fits in there. Which we can do straight away. Now, I will say, this job is definitely easier with 2 people. apparently a lot of learning about doing an engine still, guys, is doing it. Someone's asked why they struggle to put it in. And there, just like that, it is now a 125. Alright guys, well, we're back. It's the next day. Obviously, last night I got too tired to carry on, so I thought I'd stop the video. All I achieved last night was putting this engine mount bolt in, this engine mount bolt in, and I'll put the chain and sprocket in this cover on Lucy, and the clutch cable and HT cap. All of them things are pretty basic steps. Clutch is simple, and these engines is very little adjustment apart from there, so you can't really get them wrong. This chain didn't have a split link, so I undone the sprocket and took it off that way as one unit. If you've got a split link, it probably makes it easier in all reasoning. But yeah, right, I'm just gonna do a time lapse of throwing this thing back together now, guys. Just carburetor inlet manifold on, exhaust on, do the wiring here, attach the carb, and that'll be the most part done now. Right, so I'm gonna throw you on a time lapse and see you guys on the other side. Alright guys, so we're at the point of wiring up the engine now. Obviously everything else is in. Exhaust is on, gear selectors on, stands on, chains on, etc, etc. Carbs back on now, just the air filter waiting to go on. Obviously coming off the engine you have 3 wires, a green which is your earth, a red and black which is your live from your exciter coil, and that is your live from your pickup coil. They go to the 3 wires coming off the loom. You will also have a yellow and a pink wire coming out, but as you can see, or 2 yellows, as you can see I've chopped them off. They go to a rectifier if you're running the battery, to charge your battery, to run headlights, electric start, whatever. I'm just using this loom to run the engine on its own with a kill switch wired in by breaking the red and black wire with a switch between them. But yeah, as you can see, them 3 wires go to them 3 wires. Twist them, tape them, use connectors, either way, whatever you're happy with. Chances are, being pit bikes, you're going to take it apart again, so try not to make it permanent or solder it or anything, but if you can put connectors on them wires and do it with a plug, it's even easier. But right, I'll throw you on the time lapse of me doing that. Alright guys, all the engine's all in, all wired up, all plumbed in. Let's see how many attempts to start it. Starts in his idle adjustment, but she runs. Right guys, so that concludes that engine swap video. Obviously, I know on camera it looked a lot quicker. Obviously, I've been doing it a long time, so I probably do make it look a bit easier than it is. But if you take your time, just think about what you're doing step by step. They become ridiculously simple after you do a couple of them. By all means, if you look through Facebook, you can find these engines for 20 or 30 quid. Get them even as a not runner, and if you never get it running again. But if you pull one apart, you're not going to know less by doing that, are you? Ever? Well, that's sort of how I learned along the lines. But as you can see, we now have my Mrs. Liv's got a 125 stomp pit bike with a small wheel, so should be a bit of a wheelie animal hopefully. And parts turned up today for the 140. Kickstart's on now, so hopefully later today or tomorrow we'll have a video of us cutting about on them 2 for you and show you how they now handle. But thanks for watching, guys. Please show love, like, comment and subscribe. It's all appreciated. And I shall see you in the next video, guys. Take care.